Well, hello and welcome to my channel. Age is just a number and my name is Barbara Jean. This is a channel for women over 40, over 50, over 60, over 70 and beyond who have a love of fashion and beauty. And I am a personal stylist, but I have a love of beauty, that's skincare and makeup. I'm what you call an enthusiast. So makeup artist by no means, no way, not me. But I try. But I'm sure that you have seen by the title what this video is about. So, you know, you had the choice if you wanted to click on this or not. It's not clickbait by any shape or form. It is just a need for me to tell you what has been going on, and that if I share my story and if it can help one person, then it has been worth the effort and the time for me to do this video. All right, so I am doing this as a public service announcement. So what I want to say firsthand is I am not a medical professional any way, shape, or how. And always refer to your own physician. But this is my story and how I see it. So that's where we're going with this. So I'm going to go back to when I was first diagnosed. And that takes me back to 2006. I was diagnosed with hypertension, which is the term for high blood pressure. And I'm not going to go into all of the scientific parts of what that actually is. So, you know, my audience is a more mature audience, so you probably know what that means. But I'm not going to go into that. So I was diagnosed in 2006, and I stayed on the medicine, the high blood pressure medicine, until 2018. In January of 2018, I started Weight Watchers after I had seen a photo of myself at the Christmas party the month before. So, yeah. I went on Weight Watchers and I lost 45 pounds in 6 months and got down to a healthy weight. And at that point, because I was on high blood pressure medicine, my blood pressure was going low. So the doctor allowed me to go off of it to see how I did without the medicine. And I did, and I did great. And I was so excited that I got to get off the blood pressure medicine. So I was elated. So I have been off the high blood pressure medicine until just very, very recently. So what I want to also point out is I have rheumatoid arthritis, and some of you that know me and watch me, you know me, I have mentioned it. That could be a totally another video in itself. I've had rheumatoid arthritis since 2000, so this is 21 years that I have had rheumatoid arthritis, and I am very, very fortunate that I've had excellent doctors. My first one had him until he decided to move to a different state, and then he referred me to another one, and then she moved to a different state, and I've been with this one for quite a while now. So because of the RA, I go to the doctor every 8 weeks like clockwork. She insists that I do because it's high risk medicine, and so she has to do complete blood workups every time I go. And then there are different yearly things as well that go along with that because of the medicine. So it is my blood pressure's watched. So I got laxed, and I'm telling you right here and there, this is my fault. There's no one to blame but me. I knew what I should have done, and I didn't do it. So I take the whole issue on my shoulders because I knew what I should have done, and I didn't do it. And it could have been very, very bad. All right, so we're going to fast forward here to recent. On the July 16th, the day before my birthday, I had my doctor's appointment. And when I get there, the lovely young lady who was taking my vitals, she mentioned that my blood pressure was elevated. Was everything okay? How was I feeling? Did my head hurt? And I had this blank look on my face. And I said, yes, my head is killing me. I said, I've had a headache for what seems like months now. And she said, And I said, but I'm just sure that I said, it's, springtime, allergies, sinus headaches. I said, that's what I've been attributing to. So I have just been taking Tylenol and dealing with it. And she's like, okay. So we move on and get through the appointment and see the doctor, go down and get my blood work done and everything. And I get home and my head is just absolutely killing me. And I take some more Tylenol, which is probably for the third time that day. And that's when I got to thinking, I'm like, that's a whole lot of headaches. And this is like, I've gone through a whole lot of Tylenol and not even paying attention to it. So that afternoon, I was just so exhausted. So I laid down on the couch and I immediately fell asleep and took a nap, which I never take naps. So a couple of hours later, I get up and my head's still hurting, and it dawned on me. I said, let me get out my little machine. And I take it, and it was very, very elevated. And I'm like, okay, so I just need to chill. I just need to chill for the rest of the day. So I did. So the next morning, I get up, which is my birthday, and I get up and I'm not feeling bad. My head was hurting, so I took Tylenol. I got up early and I went and walked 5 miles, which I do on a daily basis. And I came in and did everything normal. We were having dinner. Our daughter was coming over for my birthday that evening, so we just planned a simple little grill dinner. She comes over and she asked me what was wrong, and I said, well, my head's hurting. I said, I think my blood pressure is up. I said, will you check your blood pressure? I said, do you know your blood pressure? And she said, yes. I said, will you check it and make sure that it's calibrated correctly, that my blood pressure machine isn't faulty? So she checked hers and she said it was spot on. So we checked mine again, and then we started writing it down because it was really, really high. And within about an hour, it was up to 203 over 107. And at that point, Patrick and Marissa were like, we need to get you to the emergency room. And sorry, my phone, I was trying to turn it off. There we go. So they wanted to take me to the emergency room. Well, it was my birthday, and I had already had a glass of wine, and she brought over chocolate mousse for me for my birthday, which I hardly ever eat sweets. So it was like a real tweet. So, but I was having not only the major headache, but I was having trouble speaking or trying to portray what I wanted to say in my words. I was having trouble getting out what I was trying to tell them. And they really wanted me to go to the emergency room. And I said, no, I am not going to the emergency room on my birthday. No, it's not. So I said, let me just sit down. And I said, go get me another glass of wine. It's my birthday. And we're just going to sit down and chill, and then we'll watch it. And we did. I propped up on the couch and sipped on another glass of wine, had my chocolate pudding, and she kept checking it about every 20, 30 minutes, and it did start going down. So that was a good thing. So they're like, okay, well, we're going to watch it. Keep watching it. So the next morning I get up, and it is still elevated. Nothing like where it got to the night before, but it was still elevated. But I went and I walked my 5 miles after taking some more Tylenol, and came in, and I was just exhausted. I mean, just literally exhausted. So I laid down again on the couch and fell asleep again. When I got up, started checking my blood pressure again, and it started climbing and climbing and climbing. And it was getting bad. So Patrick says, it was about 4:30, and Patrick said, get your shoes on. We're going to the emergency room right now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So I was like, okay. So we get to the emergency room, and I'm very fortunate. We live within 10 minutes from 3 hospitals. So, and that's not even counting the little urgent cares and stuff. So we went to probably the biggest one that was 10 minutes away, and we get there Sunday afternoon, and the waiting area was almost full. So they get me checked in, and of course they asked me why I was there, and I told them that my head was hurting really bad and that my blood pressure has been out of control. So they get me checked in, put the wrist band on, and we go find a seat. And I wasn't sitting down probably 30 seconds when a nurse comes out of one of the doors and calls my name. And so she's apparently the triage nurse. So she took me into one of the triage rooms, and she said, we're going to get an EKG real quick. And I said, can Patrick come in here with me? And she said, you're not going to be in here long. I'm going to get this EKG and send you right back out there. I said, okay. So she plugs me up to all the wires and everything, and is doing the EKG, and then she puts the blood pressure cuff on me and gets that done. Well, as soon as the EKG, because those EKGs just take diddly squat just like that. I mean, they're just so quick. So she rips off the 2 pages, and she said, I'm going to go show this to the doctor, and I'll be right back. So okay. And then as she was walking out the door, I look at the blood pressure monitor that was right here above my head. It was 233 over 117. And at that point, I'm like, oh, this isn't good. This isn't so good. Next thing I know, she is coming through the door, and she's got a wheelchair. And she said, we're taking you to a bed right now. So they get me to the bed, they plug me up, and they start pumping me full of pain meds and who knows what all and stuff. And then they come over and stick the other arm and get blood and everything. So I I start feeling pretty good, as you do when that pain meds hit. So I'm sitting there kind of just dozing off. Well, another gentleman comes in and says, okay, and yes, and the doctor had come in and said, well, we're going to order some tests and everything. So he said, I want a picture of your head. So this young gentleman who came in and he said, I'm taking you to go get a CT scan. So he takes me in there, and of course, I just sleep through. It doesn't take but a couple of minutes, but as soon as I lay back, I fell asleep because I'm on the pain meds. And so he gets that. Long story, come in. I'm there at the hospital for 5 hours. They get the blood pressure, not completely under control, but much better than what it was. I think it was, when I left, it was 145 over 89. So they're like, okay, we'll take this. And they said, okay. And they wrote me a script for a pain med and for blood pressure medicine. They said, you're going to have to go back on this, and you need to call and get into your primary care very quickly. And if the headaches do not go away, you're going to have to get into a neurologist. So that was the extent of the ER visit. So I get up the next morning because the pharmacy was already closed by when we got out. I go and get the medicine. First, I go for my walk. I only made it 4 miles that morning because I was still kind of a little groggy from all the stuff, but I did make 4 miles that morning. So I get home and I get the pills, and so everything is taking its time, but it's getting down. So here's where I'm going to get to the public service announcement. I knew that I had an issue before, and I knew that I should have checked my blood pressure every week, because I don't go to the doctor every week for them to check it. I only go every 8 weeks. So looking back at some of my medical records from even back to February, when I had gone to my rheumatologist, my blood pressure was elevated then, but I just attributed it to the sinus and allergy headaches. So what I'm wanting to tell you people is, this is no serious, this is a very serious business. And what I did, because I kind of looked up some information just to share with you, and there are 11 risk factors that I wrote down here to share with you. And the number one that I'm finding on here is women over the age of 65. Okay, I'm only 63. So women, your chances get higher when you turn 65. Another major one is race, and that is any person with the African heritage descent. Family history. I do not know my family history because I was adopted when I was young. My biological mother died when I was 3 years old, and she died of congestive heart failure. Being overweight or obese. Okay, I'm not. I'm neither one. My BMI is right at where I'm supposed to be for my height, weight, and age, which is 22. So let's see, not being physically active. Okay, I've already explained, I've talked about it many times. I get up every morning and I walk. I also do yoga stretches and different exercises at home too. Tobacco. I'm not a tobacco user. Haven't been. Too much salt. I hardly ever use salt. I keep just a little smidgen, and I watch whenever I look at ingredients on an item. I look to see how much sodium is in there. If I buy any canned goods, I buy low salt or no salt added. Same with anything like chicken broth. Low salt or no salt added. Too little potassium is also a risk factor. I know that. I've had trouble with leg cramps in the past, so I eat a lot of bananas, but I also take a supplement for potassium so that I get my 100% daily value that I should have. Too much heavy alcohol. Yes, y'all have seen me on Wine Wednesday. I may have a couple of glasses of wine, sometimes at night for a special occasion, usually maybe just one. But yes, I love wine, but I don't do heavy alcohol. Occasionally, and I haven't had one in forever, a margarita that might have the tequila in it, but typically I don't drink heavy alcohol. Stress. Well, we can all say stress, especially the last, year and a half of COVID. Yes, we've all been under stress, so that is there, yeah. And then the last one is certain chronic diseases, which are kidney disease, diabetes, and sleep apnea. So these 11 risk factors, there's only 2 possible for me, which is family history and stress. This is why they call it the silent killer. This is one of the reasons why they call it the silent killer. So now I want to move on to what happens if it's not controlled. You're susceptible to heart attack and stroke. So we're going to stop right here, and I'm going to insert the American Heart Association's chart that outlines, and I've got it right here, I'm looking at it. There's 5 main blood pressure ranges. And so I'm going to put this on the screen right here. I want you to look at this. All right. So the next one is aneurysms. Next one is heart failure. Next one is blood vessel issues. Then metabolic syndrome, which is cholesterol and insulin levels. Then there's memory trouble. And then there is dementia. So that's all things that can happen if it's not controlled. So with that said, what I'm wanting as a takeaway from this is I was bad. I admit it. I had this at home available to me, and I had not been using it as I should. So if you have any of those risk factors, if you love somebody that has any of those risk factors, please consider investing in a blood pressure machine. They're not that expensive. I'm not putting any affiliate links. I am not trying to sell you a blood pressure machine by any chance or any way. That's another thing. Since all of this has been happening the last couple of months, I get twisted trying to say the words. So they're in the process of trying to get mine leveled out and get my medicine. So far, I'm on a blood pressure medicine, but they've already had to add a beta blocker as well, and trying to get those leveled out into when I should take them. So, but what I want you to understand how important something like this at home, because you probably don't go to the doctor every week to have your vitals checked. This is something you can do at home. This is battery operated. They have different models. This one is an old model, but it still works. I've replaced the batteries in here, I think at least once, maybe twice. So, and I think even then it was probably $30, $35 or something like that. So there's tons. You can go on Amazon, you can go on Walmart, Target, wherever. Almost every pharmacy carries one of these. So if you have any of those risk factors, please consider getting one of these. If you love somebody that has those risk factors, wouldn't that make a great Christmas gift or a birthday gift or something, or just a I love you gift to let them know how much you care? So this is, because this is something you can do. I have told many people over time, you are responsible for your own health. Your own decisions and your own health choices, as far as if you know you're doing something that's harming your body, if you're okay with that, that's fine. But there are things that you can do. You can make that choice. So I just want you to know that you can possibly save your life or somebody else's life by having one of these. And check it on a regular basis and keep it, once a week. I'm going to have to take mine for several times a day and keep a log of it for quite a while until everything can get normalized. But once that's done, I will just take it once a week. I'll put it on my calendar to take it and keep that log and be responsible enough. And that's it. I was not responsible. And that was a very selfish thing of me to do, as was not going the night of my birthday. My husband was extremely, I don't want to say upset, but he goes, if something had happened to you that night, he goes, I can't even talk about it. So that was I wasn't in the right mind to make that decision, looking back. So remember that for somebody, for yourself, or somebody that you may love, for that decision. So with that said, I am going to leave it here. If you know somebody that this video might help, please share it with them. And that's all I'm saying. So I am getting off my soapbox now. And I'm going to tell you what I tell you every single day, ladies. Every day, get up and show up. Yes, because you are worth it. So until I see you in my next video, have a very safe and a very blessed day.